All right, hello guys. Thank you for tuning into the VZ channel. So today it's a very special video. I've got a guest here today with me. He is a British expat that's been living in China for almost 20 years. And I'm very curious to hear about his experiences here. And I'm sure a lot of you are as well. What's it like here? How has China changed? And how has he been getting used to, just hear his story in general? It will be very fascinating. And I hope you enjoy it too. So here we go. Here is Mr. Gary. Hello,
Hello.
Gary.
Hello. Hello all. Okay, so my name's Gary Hooper. I have a Chinese nickname, which is Lao Huli. Okay, there's a bit of a history behind that. Okay, that's a old fox. Okay, I'm on. So that's some history. So as you introduced, I've been here 18 plus years. Actually working in China for 20. As a bit of background, I was working for international powertrain engineering consultancy. They're very famous in the UK, and I had working in China projects, and I was given the opportunity the back end of 2003. Would I come to China? Come to China? What to do? So I was 47 then. That gives you an idea. So you get the chance once in life, I'd have to say. Do I bring the family with me? Not. So I came on my own for 3 years with an expat contract. Okay, so a bit more luxurious than a teacher because I was at first line level. So that means you get a reasonable apartment and everything else. So I came here, and the purpose was we were building our technical center here in Shanghai, and my background is powertrain engineering. So, and we had a big customer base. So, and then I was all over China getting business. So, very interesting. I would say in the early days, traveling. Some places you could only get a plane once a week. Once on a Friday, once on a Monday. All this kind of topic. Traveling a lot by car. And I would say that the strange thing for me was there's a juxtaposition, was you're on a fantastic highway in the countryside, but at the countryside, there's a guy with an ox, and there's no electricity, and there's the straw, and this is like medieval time, the little patch of land this guy's farming, or lady, whoever it is, and this is everywhere. So you're on this fantastic 4-lane high-speed highway, but either side of this is complete countryside, and there's no infrastructure. So so you go all over China, Chongqing, wherever, the auto business, follow the auto business. So in those days, Chongqing was safer to smoke a cigarette than actually breathe in the air. Okay, it's better than that.
Wow.
So again, I came for 3 years, expat contract. That got extended for 2. That makes 5 years. And then I converted to a local contract, an open-ended local contract. So that meant, and by then you have to think, when I first came, the pound was 15, 16 RMB to the RMB, and the crash 2009, we're 8 or 7. So you half the value of what you earn in the UK here in China, half the value. You go from 15 then to 7. Terrible time. So that's why I converted to a local contract. Again, I was on my own. So I got 3 children in the UK. My eldest daughters were at senior school in the GCSE stream. My son wasn't, and actually in the end, my son came to China. He's now finished his degree, but he came and was here roughly 7 years. So he came when he was about 10 and went to the private schools here in China. So my then wife at the time, decided, okay, it's better send him here, and he came here. So that was an experience for him. So he was at Dulwich College. So, and then I became full-time contract, basic expat, but paid locally. And then about 9 years ago, I changed my current job, where I'm a vice president for a lubricant company here in China, and I've been here ever since. And again, a local contract. So,
wow.
in the meanwhile, some personal changes. So I've married again. My wife is Shanghainese, and we have a young son who's about 8. So I started again when I was 55.
So you have 4 children now.
4 children. I started again when I was 55. A little crazy. Okay, this is life, huh? But stuff. So that's
keeps the life exciting.
Coming here to live, and now I've got a Chinese family. So and I'm living like your Chinese life. So my mother and father are heavily involved in our life. They're helping my son out. You know the lot. If you've married to Chinese, you know the life. So the family is a big important thing in Chinese life, and the parents are. The term is darbound typically. So the parents come and live with you and take care of the children. Very nice too, I have to say. It's completely different to how you bring your children up in the West. Completely different. Yeah, in the West,
very different. Yes.
But here it's the family unit and all the family. There's their extended family. So it's a very different way of living. It's okay. It's a little crazy.
It's very tight knit.
Very tight knit. Personal space may be a bit of a topic somewhere, but you get used to it. Okay, it's this is life, but it's interesting life.
Always positives and negatives to every kind of lifestyle, right? So I mean, the positives with a Chinese lifestyle would be like more help, right? So you can have a bit of a time off for yourself, I guess. Yeah. But of course, it comes with a price. That time off.
Yeah, no problem. I mean,
yeah. So
in the UK, my wife's mother and father-in-law live with us, but not in such a close like it is here. It's different. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
So that's why I ended up, and I should stay here. So in a few years' time, I should retire and retire here in China. I won't go back to the UK as such. So, and that's a very potted history of the time I've been here.
Well, that's right. Yeah, it's many years condensed into
sure.
A short story. Yeah,
I would say personal topic. I came on my own. I have to say, it's quite hard to decide if you come with your partner or your wife and your family. It's not easy. I would say for you working, you're going to work longer hours than you ever do in the UK or wherever you are. Then you could be, I don't know where you come from, but when you're here, then you spend a lot of time in work, or certainly at my level anyway. You work a lot of hours, a lot of involvement in the company. Therefore, you're very busy, and your wife will be at home not so busy, and she may well have a job where you were back in the UK at the same level as you. Normally, most couples are working, so that you may both be teachers. You may be an executive, and she's a teacher, or she's a doctor or something. So it's not so easy to bring your wife to China, and she doesn't work because she can't work. In theory, she can't work. If she comes with you, you can't work. You have a visa, but it's difficult to get a work permit for her. And you bring your family, but children are okay. Children sort of go where they want to go, but it's quite difficult. I have to say, when you're working, you don't need the challenge of home life also being a bit not so very good. So you need, but I would say, do it. Come. Difficult if you come on your own. So that is a bit of a change for me.
So of course, you have a big culture shock, right?
Yes, it's a big culture shock. Most people's wives do some voluntary work or something. A friend of mine, colleague of mine at work, his wife does support teaching, you could say. And a previous colleague, his wife was doing charity and stuff. But it's not so easy, I would have to say.
I was quite curious. So your work, what is it exactly like from someone who doesn't, I've never...
right. Okay. So
I'm just a teacher, right? So that's all I know when it comes to China.
My responsibility, I'm responsible for the product management for all of our automotive products in China. That's my job role. And I have a team working for me, and we make lubricants here in China. And my previous role was developing engines and vehicles for the Chinese market. So we were a consultancy. I sold what was in my head, basically, and we were selling knowledge and stuff.
So I guess you have to do a lot of traveling around China for like
yes,
seeing factories and stuff. Or
yes, in fact, it's companies. So you're working with all these strange companies. There's many automotive companies in China, big and small. The business is very, very busy, very big.
so
There's
it's
still
a very
many companies. Very
competitive environment, right? Yeah.
competitive environment. So we aren't the only game in town. So there's the majors, all the famous people are here. But it's a big business. The automotive business is currently very crazy, very busy, unbelievable business here. After
Are you
COVID,
guys doing electric?
yes,
Involved in electric?
we also cover electric vehicles as well.
That's a very big thing right now, right in China, isn't it?
It's the future. Yeah, China is really the main market for e-mobility or future mobility development. This is where it's happening. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen like a lot of little shops, little car shops pop up everywhere. Like there's one in my mall where I work, and it's like some Chinese brand I've never heard of before, but they're all electric cars.
Yeah, I'm sure some of them will die in the end, but they're all trying very hard. And there's a big drive for the government to push e-mobility, electric vehicles, and stuff like this. So, it's the future. And you've probably seen that Volkswagen now will make electric cars in China, so they're joining in. Tesla.
Oh yeah, they have a big area in Anting, right? So
yes, they
like
do. Yes, which is a joint venture with Shanghai Auto.
I visited that area once, and you see sometimes like driverless Volkswagen cars just go up and down the road all day.
Yeah, there's actually in Jardine, which is where I live. There is actually a special road circuit where they test the autonomous cars. So there's a special. It's very near in Shanghai. For those who don't know, there's an automotive museum. It's very worthwhile a visit. There's a Shanghai Auto Museum. It's in Anting, and near there, it's near there. There is a circuit in the road or the public roads that is specifically for evaluating autonomous vehicles. It's part of the Shanghai government and Jardine government. But the auto exhibition place in Shanghai is worth a visit.
Actually, you mentioned when you were first started telling the story that when you first came here, you were going along these amazing highways, and on the side is just like goats. That leads me like to a question. Like, can you think of like the top three differences? The top three changes or more, if you can think of, since you came here.
Okay.
In China,
number one would be the house price. So, an example. When I first came here, I was living in Pudong CBD. So that's very near the Pearl Tower. And at that time, my apartment, you could see the Pearl Tower. Now you can't. But you could have bought an apartment there for roughly £200,000. Now we're talking 18 years ago. So that's a long time.
That's peanuts now.
Yeah, but now you're talking £3 or £4 million. That apartment's worth now, the same apartment. So that's the kind of level you're looking at. Is that what you could buy 18 years ago is now it's now
And what size apartment are we talking here for that much?
About 130 square meters, something like this. 100 plus square meters. So yeah. So now I think they're trying to get a relative term. So a typical, we're a bit far out here, like you are in Pudong. So you're paying 45,000 RMB a square meter. So what's that in real money? So I'm just trying to think now.
It's about £5,000.
Yeah, £5,000. And I think they're approaching 150, 200,000 RMB a square meter, if not more.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's like London, basically, or on par with London prices.
Yeah. So and I think in the early days it was like 4,000 or 5,000 RMB a square meter. It's a kind of topic. So it's astronomical. Yeah.
Yeah,
astronomical.
Came too late. I came too late. But I think they're still going up. I mean, if you have that kind of money now, you should probably buy something in Shanghai because it's still going up like crazy. I heard.
It's you should understand you don't own the land here. Maybe people don't know that the arrangement is here. they have a 70-year ownership. So you never own, nobody owns the land. Nobody in China owns the land. So, but for private housing, it's called 70 years. So you own the bit you're in for 70 years. You're allowed two houses or 2 apartments per family. Anything more than 100 square meters, you have to pay tax on. So if you own more than 100 square meters, and then they have other things called Sohos, which is very popular here, and that's a 40-year. So a business Soho is a 40-year ownership of the land. Okay.
That's an interesting name. We've got an area in London called Soho.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So you asked me what the changes were. So housing property, and I would say that the city's lost its slightly more interesting lifestyle. Okay, so when I first came here, there were certain parts of Shanghai that were a bit like Bangkok and Singapore. So
very vibrant, very vibrant.
A lot of bars, dancing girls, a lot of drinking. Okay, so there was Maoming Lu that got closed because it got too noisy. Tongan Lu is now basically closed, and so that side of the Shanghai life, I would say it's not so much around. Yeah. So,
and I guess they see it as cleaning up, but I also kind of feel sad.
The big change came. The first big change came with the Olympics, which is 2008. They had a clean up with the Olympics because some of the Olympics was in Shanghai, and then the bigger change, which it was 2010, was the Expo. Then they
that whole area got changed.
The whole thing got changed, so they moved a lot. They cleaned a whole lot of stuff up. So. Because there were so many people coming, then they wanted to give a really good image to Shanghai, and so this side of Shanghai, I mean, there's still, there's still places to go. To be honest,
and you can still see the changes.
So the changes. That would be, and of course, no more cash. So when I
didn't even think of that.
Only cash. I was running around with the chairman Mao, 100 RMB. You needed this everywhere, and small change. You have to do everything in cash. Very hard to use your credit card in some places. The foreign credit cards couldn't be used very often. You obviously get money out the cash machine, of course, but you don't pay for something to eat or something somewhere. And now it's a completely cashless society. If you don't have
actually, I think I came here already probably after it became a cashless society, or just like because so I met my girlfriend in the UK in about 2013, right? And then we spent 4 years there, and then she came back to China first, and then I followed her 1 year later. And when I first came here in 2016, she was still like a bit excited in the fact that you can pay with Alipay everywhere. She's like, "Oh, you can pay Alipay here. You can." So I think it was just around then that it changed to cashless everywhere. 2016. Now I haven't used cash anywhere at all for years.
I still see some cash with me in case I have a problem somewhere with the phone. I got a few hundred RMB with me. I go traveling just in case. But generally, everything is WeChat or Alipay. And I think most of your viewers know these two anyway. And e-commerce, everything's ordered through the phone. Everything is through an app. Even in our company, all our travel stuff through the app and C-Trip or something else. So that I would say was the sort of the changes, was the house prices.
In fact, but as you say, it is a good idea to still take cash with you just in case. Because I went to the island the other day with my friends, and we got on the bus, and to buy tickets on that bus, you have to use cash, and I was a bit shocked, and then we had to get off. I mean, we probably could have asked one of the passengers to exchange some, Alipay for cash, but we didn't bother to do that. We just got off.
But I keep just in case, like my mother would tell me when I was younger, you keep tuppence in case. I'm very old, so keeps a bit of money just in case, and I keep a bit of cash because you never know, because the phone dies, you're knackered.
Exactly.
if you don't have your credit card, they don't often take the credit card anymore. And I mean, they never take the bank cards anymore.
I wouldn't even be able to take the metro because, like, I stuck my metro into the Apple Wallet, so all I have to do is scan my phone to get into the metro. I don't even have the card. Yeah, so I would be truly in trouble.
So that's and I would and I would say a fourth kind of thing that Shanghai's got much cleaner. So when I first came here in the summer, you never got the sun. You never got the sun. So you got this, hard to describe it, like a haze. So it's very hot, 40 degrees C, so it's stinking hot, but no sunshine, no sunshine. So, but now you see the weather recently, and in the summer you get blue skies. The atmosphere is very good. We have some pollution, but I would say the pollution is probably getting better. In the early days, 18 years ago, the pollution was quite bad.
Yeah, that's actually why I chose Shanghai over Beijing. Or it was mostly between Beijing and Shanghai, and at that time, Shanghai was noticeably cleaner. Now I think Beijing is slowly catching up to in terms of the air quality.
Beijing's quite dry, of course. A lot of expats complain about Beijing being too dry, and it dries your skin out and stuff. So
this here is good for your skin, ladies. Come here, Shanghai.
Shanghai's wet. That's the only what I have to say. The thing I hate about Shanghai, the winter is like an English winter. It's terrible. So
but with no heating.
No, you have no heating. Perhaps maybe you've explained in your the topic is in Shanghai. Days of Chairman Mao. Below the Yangtze, you don't get the heating, and above the Yangtze, you get district heating. So here, typically, in the old days anyway, the insulation of the apartments was terrible. So my first apartment in the winter was terrible. So I could never work out why people bought electric blankets. Why is everybody buying an electric blanket? Why is they buying an electric blanket? I couldn't work this out. So, and the very short story was, I went home at Christmas, and I left at 18 degrees here. So Christmas time we're 18 degrees, and I came back. I think it was close to zero. And my apartment, and it has air conditioning as heating, no heating. It was freezing, and there was no heating in the bathroom, and the soap was like frozen. Terrible. And then I realised why people bought heaters and electric blankets, because it's bloody cold here. And the insulation, the insulation is terrible. So there's no cavity walls, and the double glazing is not worth speaking about. So in Shanghai, you can freeze. We can get
these homes are built for losing heat, because it's mostly like most of the year it's quite hot here. So
I've not looked back. I've not regretted it. A few things went on personally for me, but I've not regretted coming here, and still don't regret coming here at all.
So what do you like, about living here? Obviously you like living here since you've been here that long.
Okay, here's the deal. You can do anything's possible here. So in China, nobody ever thinks it's not possible. Generally it is possible. There's a very open-minded people here. There is no negative. You never get anything negative from the locals about foreigners. So you're not treated as nobody discriminates you, put it that way. So I've not experienced that, I have to say. And generally there's a very open-minded, and you can get anything done here. That's the really positive side. And it's a challenge. So every day is a challenge, but that's why I like it here, because it's not same old. So every day you'll get something different challenge.
Always trying to go forward to the people.
Always trying to go forward, and you learn a lot. I mean, that's what I like. Is every day you learn something a little bit different about people, life, whatever. And it's a continuous learning environment. Positive, generally positive. I would say. No real problem. And generally, it's also very safe here. I think you've said that. I know that in my other company, we had a lady here for 3 months. She was in her mid-20s. She was out all the time by herself in the city. Came home quite late, whatever it was. No problem. Nobody attacked her or anything. So very, very. I always feel very, very safe and never feel any danger anywhere. I have to say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other places I could think of, America or somewhere, it's not quite so safe, but he's
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. So
I'm still trying to figure out why that is. Is it like just different culture, or I mean that's a whole nother video, a whole nother topic. But it will be interesting to know why is it.
I don't know whether it's control.
Mhm.
I'm always amazed how the place runs, but clearly, whatever anybody might think, you have the government here, but they're not running every single thing. So it's impossible. There's 200 million people here, 2 billion people, 2 billion people. One central government can't control everybody. It's impossible. But it generally seems to work, and I think it's the nature of the people. Yes, you do see stuff, in TikTok or somewhere. There's a fight, somebody gets stabbed or something, or whatever. Some crazy guy goes in and stabs a shop person or something. But generally,
it's not a utopia, but yeah.
No, it's not utopia. But there's no guns here. The police carry guns, to my knowledge, or can carry guns here. It seems to be some self-control, I would say. It's not. I think it's generally not in the people's nature. I would say I would say generally they care for each other very well. So I think in the UK, somebody falls down the street, people walk over them. Here that doesn't happen. I mean, I've not felt well somewhere, and people have come to me that are Chinese. Are you okay, or whatever? In the UK, in the middle of London somewhere, you fall down the street, I guarantee you 50 people just walk over you. So nobody will care about you. Yeah, okay. Probably think you're drunk or something, but it's different here. And the other thing I see here, you see the girls and the boys go around so holding hands together, so they're all like a group together. It's different. So I think generally they will care for each other and other people. I think it's the culture more than anything else. It's probably why it's safer here. Yes, no doubt there are other certain small towns in China somewhere where it's not so safe and whatever. But generally, 99.9%, it's very safe wherever you go. Yeah, you never have any problems. The only second thing I would say, I worked in Japan before. I worked for a Japanese company, and so it's a little bit like that. Japan's also quite safe. Yeah. I mean, in theory, at the time I went to Japan in the early 80s, or late 80s, you could leave your wallet somewhere, it'd be back there the same day. I'm not sure you can do that in China, but it's fairly safe. I've been around Singapore as well. Also,
two hard-working nations. Maybe something to do with the hard work, just very driven and not. More about
the money's the driver here, of course. Yeah, so that's the other strange. Maybe you never mentioned. Well, my father said to me, "What happens about waste management?" I said to him, "Well, in the street, there's somebody picking up all the cardboard, there's somebody picking up all the bottles, and there's recycling is done with the little old boy somewhere. But he gets paid for the weight of the cardboard and paid for the weight of the bottles, and taking away the polystyrene. So you don't have the local refuse places. Yeah, yes, the refuse is taken away each day, and it's categorized. But the real sort of disposal is there's a business behind it all. There's little people taking away the certain types of rubbish and making a business out of it. Yeah. So
I think there's there's an IE at the bottom of every apartment building here. There's one in mine. She whenever you take out the rubbish, she's like, "Oh, if you've got any cardboard or like plastic, please give it to me." And she takes care of everybody's stuff. And then
so they're going around to all the shops, picking up the cardboard, and they go somewhere and they recycle the whole lot. So anyway, it's a side topic. So that's what I like, BD. It's a challenge every day. I've never got really frustrated here. I've never got. I've had enough. Maybe some of the food, I'm used to it now. But I think very hard to get decent fish and chips. I'd have to say.
I tried. They're not the same.
So I think probably here you could probably, if you open a Harry Ram's, then probably have very good business here. Yeah. So for those who don't know, Harry Ram's is a very famous fish and chip shop from Grimsby or somewhere, forgive me, or Scarborough or something. And it's now a franchise in the UK. Quite expensive fish and chips in the UK for Harry Ramsden's, but it's decent fish and chips. Here you get it a bit in some of the you go Blue Frog or somewhere, or they give you fish and chips, but it's not the same like in the UK. It's the batter.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, there's some small things like that, but generally you can get Western food here. You've got to pay money for it, of course. So if you eat like a local, this is extremely. I think you cover this already in some of your videos. This is like really a low cost. You get your jiao in the morning, Bowser. You're talking, 10 or 10.
If you come here and eat live the full-on Chinese lifestyle and earn your salary, you're gonna save money like crazy. But of course, we all miss home food, so it's probably impossible to totally.
So, I mean, if you went to, there's a lot of a lot of the supermarkets now. Carrefour have a foreign section. City Market, for those who are very rich, City Market's quite expensive. And many others. There's some foreign food shop.
Carrefour, that's French.
Yeah, Carrefour is French. Auchan is French, I think. Yeah. And Metro. Metro is like a cash and carry place, but they have foreign food.
I think there was a Tesco's here, but I'm not sure if it still exists.
They had a joint venture. It didn't work. And a few other people have left and gone. I think Auchan are about on their way out as well.
That's a shame. And Marks and Spencer as well, right? Marks and Spencer used to be somewhere in Shanghai.
They had a big shop in the middle of Shanghai, and they sort of disappeared. Nanjing Road. And I heard somewhere that Lidl are coming, but I'm not too sure that's true. So anyway, there's another place, so it's okay. You generally can get. I remember that. Once I had a discussion with the head of R&D for GM, and he told me that he could get some American foods here that he couldn't get when he was in Germany. So, he said that here he could go to the city market in Shanghai, and he could get it was some cereal and some other stuff. He said he could get here in China, but he couldn't get in Europe. So it was very strange.
Wow. Yeah. I think if you maybe if you're local, you can actually request some stuff from the shop owners, and if you're having a good relationship, or if you pay some extra money, they could do that for you.
Yeah.
If they see there's a demand.
Now you asked me, was I homesick? Oh, good question. So I tend to go home, forgetting COVID, because we have a lot of typically business meetings. So I'm into Europe 3 times a year, we'd say.
Wow. Lucky.
So yeah, okay. Or 2 to 3 times a year previously. Then I would go home during that time. Yeah. So we have tend to a week's meeting somewhere, and you go, and then I go home and see my father and see the family and stuff like this. Do I miss the UK? We went as a whole family when my son was born. We toured around the UK. The traffic's less, so I drive here, so I have a company car, so I'm a bit lucky. So the traffic's less, and certainly less population. But sometimes when I used to go home, I used to miss that it wasn't busy. Yeah, so where we lived before,
miss the buzz.
We miss the buzz. So you don't you miss the density of the people. That's very strange to say, because you think, Shanghai's so busy. It's 24 million permanent and 4 million transient or something. You miss it, but actually you think, I go to the UK, very nice, because it's a bit quieter, and it's true. It is quite nice, and it's different. Yeah, a bit more expensive than here, I'm afraid. So, but then
especially
after a few days, I'd actually miss the density of the people. Yeah, so there's people, but not the same kind of density that you get here in any of even the small cities, small towns. In Jardine or somewhere, you have maybe 100 times more population in the walking the streets than you get in the UK. So
I see what you mean. It's like you feel like there's life going on around you. Right? Yes, you feel like you're living.
Yeah. So my father lives in Suffolk, and that's very quiet. Yeah. So and my daughter, one of my daughters lives in Romford, which is quite good. That's a bit more buzz, but still not quite the same as Shanghai, China. It's close. I quite like London, but it's not quite the same. So That's the sort of that's some things in the UK you do find are nice. Yeah. So a bit cleaner and stuff generally. Yeah. So here's quite clean, but there is there's a lot of dog shit around. Okay. Shanghai suffers with a lot of dog shit. That's all I could say. There's a lot of dogs and.
Yeah. People, I had no clue about the dog culture here before I came. But there's like, guys, if you don't know, you'll get like these little spots on the street, especially like next to malls and stuff. And in the evening, people will have like just take all their dogs and just show off their dogs to everybody, like a mini dog show.
Yeah, the most popular dog here is a poodle because they're small and fit in the apartment. Then you can have something big like a Samoyed. And everything down to big to small, yeah. And people have Alsatians and stuff like that. So,
I've seen some gorgeous golden retrievers, like the classic dog.
Yeah. So every dog also has to have a hukou. Okay, so the dog has to have a hukou.
Didn't know that.
And in the middle of Shanghai, you've got to have a chip. Got to have a chip in the dog. And the dog gets a hukou. The dog has to have a hukou. So and the dog has to have regular injection for rabies, I think. We got a dog. We have a dog. And it also has to be household registered. So it has to have its hukou. Yeah. So
is that the same for like the homeless dogs? Because you've got like these dog shelters.
No. The known for those is Lialango, which is a loose dog. No, loose dogs are free to do what they like. There's a lot of loose dogs in Shanghai, I have to say. So, depending where you go,
cats too.
Well, I live in sort of Jardine, so there's a bit more loose dogs around, but there's some in the city as well. But there's a lot of dogs in Shanghai, and unfortunately, the streets are left with some deposits. And I don't mean money, but there's some other deposits.
Yeah.
So you have to be a bit careful. So a lot of people do pick it up, but I have to say it's not done so often. So and people love their dogs. There's a fortune spent on the dog maintenance. I think it's the same in the UK. So the dog, there are lots of dog washing shops, haircut shops, dog care shops. Okay, it's another world, So
it's a big business, yeah.
Yeah, big business. Yeah. They're like, okay. Then you asked about having a child in China. Oh, that was interesting. So,
you told me that you have an 8-year-old boy, right?
Here. 8-year-old son. He was born here in China. So,
and he studies in is he British or?
He's in a local school. So we took the decision to keep him in the local school. So and that is very, very, very hard. So my son, believe it or not, he has 8. I would say each day he has 2 hours homework.
Wow.
So there is Hansa, that's the Chinese characters, Mandarin, English, and maths. So they have paper homework, and they have apps to do as well. So they have the teacher sets the coursework with an app. So they have to do, there's an app that runs the English, that runs the Mandarin, runs the math, do all this.
His English is probably the best in class, right? Since he's in a local school.
He's A+. But it's a heavy homework, and in the weekends as well. No free time. No, I would say generally it's completely different. So my eldest son was here at Dulwich College, and a colleague of mine I knew, her daughter was at a Chinese school, a private school, and she had more homework than my son from Dulwich College. My son from Dulwich College was doing GCSEs, and this little girl who was a bit older than my son, she was 10, she had more homework than my son. So, and the same kind of crazy Hansa, maths, Mandarin, all this kind of stuff. They've got to record their voice.
Yeah. They do really tire them out, don't they? And and probably in the summer holidays they give them like a whole reading list as well.
Yes,
isn't that?
Absolutely. So he starts at around 7 and finishes about 4 each day, like this. So they start early. So not like English schools. So English school is, I think, is 8:30 or something, and finish at 3:30.
Yeah, and well, English schools sometimes you get people, what we call it, bunking it off. That's not possible in China, is it?
Yeah, but I mean, in the end, it's a lot of pressure for him. But I think we think it's the right choice, because he wanted to go to a university here, and this is hard work to get into the university. It's not easy. Or hopefully a good university. That's very difficult to get in Tongji or somewhere. That's
like Jiao Tong University or something like that, right?
You're the top 10% of the everything to get in. So they only take the very best there.
Yeah.
So
Jiao to that.
Yeah. So it's a hard life. So they have no easy life. No easy life. Yeah. No easy life.
So I mean, to go to a local school, you have to be he's got a Chinese ID card, right?
Yeah, he's got a Chinese. Yeah, he's Hukou, and he's reg. He's got a.
Okay.
Yeah, ID card and stuff. So he's in the Chinese school. Yeah. So yeah. So
yeah. Tough, but make him very smart.
Yeah. I wouldn't say he's the smartest, but he's a bit lazy. But he's okay. But there's some children even brighter than him. I have to say, but it's hard work. Yeah. So it's for the parents. It's not the parents of the teachers. Okay, that's probably what I would like to say to you, is that you end up the parents being the teachers. And certainly during the COVID topic, it was all home tuition, and we were the teachers, and a lot of pressures put back onto the parents to do the homework and stuff for the children. Yeah, so the teacher sort of coordinates it all, and then the parents have all the work. A bit like this.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I tutor this one boy, and he's 9 years old, and when I go to his house, his mother is practically sitting with him every evening, and she does his homework with him. She's absolutely in the know of all the subjects. He's doing all the homework, everything.
So they criticise my son's hands is not very beautiful. Okay, so the character. My father-in-law's hands are beautiful. So they criticise him when he's right. He's got better. I have to say, the English he has to write like copper plate. They have to write copper plate. So those who know.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Copper plate rating, right? Copper plate writing. This is the style. For when they have to write the English, they have to write like copper plate. So those who know what copper plate writing's like, this is very sort of a very special style of writing English. So the English, they can't just write it all over the place. That it has to follow a complete, like Hansa. It has to follow a very beautiful, like if somebody writes out a manuscript, on a parchment, this kind of thing, like this style of writing, they have to do this, and a certain size and a certain angle. All this, you don't get that, it gets a bad mark. So it's like tough. Trying to write. It's like this. Very tough, very tough.
Does he teach you some as well?
Yes, so he teaches me some Chinese, because I have to say, I've been here a long while, but my Chinese is zero. I can do market Chinese. I can survival Chinese. Get a beer somewhere, buy food in the market. I quite like buying food in the market, not supermarket, but the market, the real market. Vegetables. Yeah? Where the grandmas go, so the fresh vegetables. I quite like buying stuff there. But that's the different, and that's also interesting because you've got a wet market. I was wondering. So I like the vegetable market, which is also a wet market, and I think probably you may have covered this. So there's lots of live animals around, which you don't get anywhere in the UK. So that's very different. Even the Carrefour has fresh fish and stuff that's alive. Yeah. So no chicken.
I feel like it's actually a fun trip to go to, even a Chinese supermarket, let alone like a market. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Chinese, I mean, typically in the restaurants, all the not the chicken, but at least if you're going to eat crab, lobster, the fish, this is all still fresh. That you go and bring it to you and they cook it for you. But the wet market, yes, obviously the beef and stuff isn't, but there's still chickens, so they'll kill the chicken for you and pluck it for you,
I've
And
never seen that happen in front of me. Have you ever actually seen a chicken being like, what do they
yeah,
twist
yeah,
an
yeah,
egg?
yeah. So yeah, and then
Oh gosh.
they do it for you. So they're yeah.
Oh,
Uh,
I need to find one. I actually haven't experienced that yet. I need to try and see
So
that.
yeah, they do it all for you. So around
Mm,
in one of the markets near us, we were a bit more countryside. But I have to say,
mhm,
when I lived in the city, I used to live in Jinan Sur, which is the middle of the city. There was a few
mhm,
markets like that, but I think most of those sort of don't exist now. But there was a
mm.
few that would still go and kill the chicken for you. Yeah? So yeah, the wet market's interesting experience, I have to say. So
I wonder if it would be allowed on YouTube if I go and like film the whole process of them killing
I
the
wonder
chicken.
that. I mean, I thought about doing that a video of a wet market, but
Mm,
yeah. So
mm,
as a side topic, I think one of my experiences in China is when you have you start a project with a customer, you have a big celebration meal, and
mhm.
then they bring out the special dishes. So I mean,
Yeah.
I've been served uh, complete turtle, complete turtle cooked with brown sauce. Oh, okay.
Uh-huh.
How do you deal with that? Yeah. So because
Yeah.
you're the honoured guest, yeah. So you have a big, a very high level dinner, and they bring out special dishes, and you get like a turtle
Yeah.
arrives
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So
Turtle.
how do I
Jesus.
eat this? So you think, how do I eat this? So you end up eating see some strange
Yeah.
food. So
I think you can actually see some turtles in the supermarket too. Yeah.
yes, yeah. They're there. People cook them. Not for me, but
Some have them as pets, actually. I saw one
yes.
old man take it out on a dog leash, well, not like a proper one, but like a string, and let it walk the turtle like a dog. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, think about strange walking things. Now, I've seen one time in near Hongqiao, one guy was walking the street. Behind him was a goose, a duck, and a
Hmm.
chicken. So you're talking in the middle of Hongqiao Road. Hongqiao Road is a very busy road. And this guy walked the
Wow.
street with they were like on a line, you know. So they,
Uh-huh. Yeah. That would have gone viral. Somebody filmed that.
I think so.
Uh,
Yeah.
mm,
Normally they're in the pot, but
uh,
where they are. Yeah. So yeah, but yeah. So there's interesting things. So here we are. Yeah.
mm.
So yeah. Questions I got asked over the years. One of the early ones was, "Do I need to bring toilet paper?" And that was one of the ones. Yeah.
Mm.
So do I need to bring toilet paper? I will say you have to notice there is no toilet paper in the toilets in the public toilets. Okay, the
Hmm.
public toilets don't have toilet paper. But
This is
do
the
you
ones
need
on
to
the
bring?
street.
Oh, the ones on the street. But
Yeah.
and that's another challenge. Okay, but do you need toilet paper to bring to China? No, it's quite civilized. Now
Yeah.
I've actually
No.
worked. I worked in Russia, and you need to bring toilet paper. Okay, so,
Mm.
so um, and the strange things like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Toilet paper has been discovered here for
Yes,
quite a
yes,
while. Yeah. No
quite a
worries
while.
about that one.
Yeah. I think that was one of the topics, and the food. I think generally you had to get about the food and the people and stuff. What's it like?
Mm.
The difference between here and home. Yeah, it's a typical sort of question. So, yeah. Um,
Mm.
yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. My children always like to. My older children would like to come here. They enjoyed being here. Yeah, all over the place. So it's very interesting. You
What's
weren't?
like the smallest city you've been to in China?
Oh, good. Okay, the smallest. I've been to Xi'an. Xi'an's to the far west.
Mm.
Um, we went there. A little bit of interesting place because there's still a factory now that was actually in the mountains. So during the Japanese War, they moved
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the industry to manufacture trucks in the mountains. And
Mm-hmm.
Dongfeng are there. We went there. So this is a place where they serve tea with a very long spout.
Oh,
The
right.
ladies, the teapot. You sit there, and she has the teapot with a very, very long spout. That's about the smallest place. And at that time, when I first went there, there was just one flight a week. So It only went one time.
Wait, how do you write this city name?
Xi'an. It's Shian. So it's in the far west. It's further west than Chongqing. You're about 3 hours drive from Chongqing.
So is it Sichuan province?
Sichuan province, yeah. So
Okay.
the history, and they still manufacture in the mountains, but it's they make all the military vehicles there, basically. But it was just interesting. So I had to go there. So that's about the smaller city. I would say the smaller cities are all situated with the traffic management, like none. So if you drive in a smaller city, then the traffic management is a challenge because they don't follow any rules. So they just turn around on the road, and particularly you get a lot of these 3-wheeled tuk-tuks or very small electric cars, and they will complete law unto themselves. A completely undisciplined driving style, I have to say.
Yeah.
But in Shanghai, the driving is very much controlled by it's very much controlled, and particularly in the mornings, the police are on every 8 policemen on every crossroads in the city because there's temperature. Electric bicycles tend to be a real danger to everybody because they didn't follow. Red means red and green are the same; they just mean go. Traffic lights are no meaning. They don't care where they're going to go. But now it's all a lot better control. And I would say it's a bit more like Hong Kong for how people behave on the street now. Yeah, Hong Kong, everybody's very well behaved. People won't cross the street until the light goes, like in the UK. But historically, here when I first came here, everybody was jaywalking. Yeah,
jaywalking. And don't look left and right. I mean, it still happens. I'm the what's it called, electric scooter, rider, driver, whatever. And you still get these people just walking out, sometimes with their children from the pavement onto the road, and I'm like, oh gosh, please look before you go, because sometimes you have to brake very fast. But now I'm just more used to it. If I see somebody in front of me, I'm like, I just better go a bit to the left, just in case.
And the last change I would say is CCTV. So cameras everywhere. So UK has a lot of CCTV by the police, but here,
London's famous for CCTVs, right?
Here, CCTV is everywhere. So there's cameras everywhere, particularly on the road. On the road, get tickets. That's the problem. Yeah. So the good thing about maybe people don't know the license system here. You're allowed 12 points, and then you get your license lost. But each year it gets renewed. So in the UK, really? You get 9 points, and you're out for 3 years. But here, you get the maximum is 12 points, but each year it's cleared, so it's okay. So, I did have some motorcycles on the road. That was a bit interesting, a bit crazy. So, I would say I'll say a little bit about private schools. Okay, so this is not cheap. So private school here is I think 300,000 RMB, whatever that is. So more.
Is this for a year, right? I hope so. For a year.
For a year, and more than you pay in the UK for private schools at Eton or something. I think so. You're talking a lot of money. It's £33,000 a year. So that's good private school money in the UK. They're okay, but the teacher turnarounds quite often. My son ended up was dyslexic, a little bit dyslexic, but it took him a number of years to find it. And it's tailored towards more good achievers and not standard pupils or somebody's got a bit of a problem. But they're very, very expensive. So okay. So most of them are a franchise, so they're not actually the school. So most of them operate under a franchise scheme. So they have the license to be that school.
Right.
The kids learn a lot. The facilities are fantastic. But I only say I question sometimes the teaching quality for the money you pay. You pay a lot of money, yeah. So that would be my complaint. If I'm in the UK and I pay £33,000 a year, then you generally get the best teachers, and your your child will get the best tuition because you're paying for it. Here, you're paying for it, but you don't necessarily get the best teachers and don't necessarily get the best tuition. So,
that's true. I mean, from a teacher's perspective, I know this.
Yeah, so I'm not saying that's true, but you have to bear in mind that it's not like maybe the private schools and the schools in the UK. The teachers may be there for some time, so that teacher will be there a number of years in that teaching that subject or something. That's not the case. Yeah, and maybe the heads of department, yes, but the teacher turnaround is quite often. They're not always native speakers. Okay, forgive me for those who've come from non-English, not England. So you have a wide range of English-speaking teachers, but not necessarily from England. That's actually okay. But generally, it's a lot of money. I mean, generally the companies pay the money. That's clear.
Food is a good question to close it off. What is your favorite Chinese dish, Gary?
My favorite. What would you? I quite like it. It's not very good because I'm diabetic. I like this sweet and sour fish. So those who don't know, in Shanghai taste is very sweet. So most of the food has got sugar in it. The Shanghainese love sweet food. Whereas you go to Beijing or somewhere, it's salty food, and Chongqing is spicy food, and a bit further south is Cantonese, which is what us Brits would know as Chinese that we would know at home. Yeah. So Guangzhou, Shenzhen, their food is more like you would be used to in the UK. But here I quite like the sweet and sour fish. So the fish is cooked and it's turned inside out. I hard to describe it. Sort of ends up like this. So it's a sweet and sour fish. And that's one of I quite
sweet
like.
And sour fish. Yeah.
So I forgot what it's called now. The beef is quite nice here, so they do cubed beef and stuff. So most of the Shanghai dishes, mapo tofu, I quite like.
Mapo tofu. I would say that's one of my favorite Chinese dishes, definitely.
But I would say of all the stuff, I love the street food. I really have to say, the street
Which
food.
Which one? Street food.
Street food. So the octopus cooked on grilled octopus, and they do it on a barbecued octopus. Here. There's a lot of barbecue stuff at night time. The jiaozi, which is I'll describe. So the semi-fried dumplings and stuff like this.
Yeah, this with a beer is very good.
Yeah, so with a bit of vinegar, they're quite nice. Baozi, which is this other dumplings and stuff. Wonton. Yeah, and this kind of stuff. So
wonton. If you have some time in the future, we must go and get some of that street food and have a beer together.
You certainly will. The other one in the morning is jambing. So you cover jambing. This is the Chinese pancake. So this is
as a pancake, say yeah.
So this is actually a northern food. So it's supposed to be Tianjin is the best place for jambing. So it's a pancake, and then it has an egg. A bit of meat if you want a bit of meat, some vegetables.
So that's a good option for saving some money. Have a
it's a bit of everything.
Pancake in the morning.
It's 6 kwai, so it's less than 10 RMB, and you get normally a bit of some dough stick in it. So it's a complete breakfast in one.
Yeah, and they're decent size as well. You'll be full after eating that.
They're this 12-inch size thing. So. This is also quite nice. So but generally, most of the Chinese food is okay. I won't eat chicken's feet. I don't eat chicken. This is for those who don't know, chicken's feet is quite popular here.
But chicken everything, chicken neck, chicken feet, everything.
No nutritional value in chicken's feet apart from chewing it. You burn calories. It's a bit like eating celery. So and
that's interesting. I didn't know that
stuff. But actually, the chicken's foot, there's no nutritional value, but you'll burn calories by eating it. So, but people like it. You get spicy and stuff. So
it's chewy. It's kind of just fun to eat, I guess.
It's fun to eat.
If you don't get put off by looking at chicken's feet, sure.
I've tried many times, and I give up with that one. So but most of the stuff is okay. So
have you tried duck's tongue?
No, so I haven't tried that.
Duck's tongue. They're usually sold in like those like metallic packages,
Yeah.
like very very salty.
Okay. Yeah, the other thing you should try sometime. There is a special restaurant in near the river in Hamburg that's sheep's backbone. You should try that. So this is where you eat the marrow out the backbone of the sheep.
Mm-hmm.
So that
Sheep's
so they have
fat.
the complete sheep, all the sheep bone.
Uh-huh.
The sheep meat, there's no sheep meat, and it's a northern dish, and they stew it or steam it, and you end up with the backbone of the sheep, and they give you a pipe, and you suck up the marrow from the backbone.
Wow, that sounds very local. I haven't tried that one.
So there is a.
Can you find that kind of stuff in Shanghai?
It's okay, and you get some vegetables with it, but there's no meat on the. Somebody else has eaten the meat from the sheep, so nothing is wasted in China. So all the sheep meat's gone, but the bones are cooked, and you eat the backbone. But
I've never tried that.
Stuff, it's interesting, but I would say nothing. There's some strange things like duck sons and stuff I wouldn't touch, and the things that locals like are popular. Noodles and stuff.
For some meat, have you tried pig's feet? Pig's feet?
No, I haven't. No, I don't eat pig. I don't eat because in Germany they had pig's feet. They had this swine hack, so that was sort of my introduction to pig's feet. Well, I worked for Ford. I went to the Cologne Technical Centre, and they show the dinner what you're going to get in a plastic showcase. There's swine hacks, swine hacks. So the pig's knuckles about this big, So this is, I don't.
Very sticky food.
I don't eat this. But the other one I quite like is cold noodles. Is it the cold noodles?
Cold noodle. Oh, yeah.
Shanghai cold noodles with peanut sauce. That's very nice. So
that is actually one of my favorites as well. So we can agree on cold noodles, and what's the other one? We both like.
Mapo tofu.
Mapo tofu. That's the one. Yeah.
And there's other stuff which I don't. I mean, there's this German Mao pork, which my family like. So it's just in the hot pot stuff. So
it's generally this kind of food is probably you shouldn't have too much of it because it's very fatty. But once in a while,
once in a while. So your doctor probably wouldn't like the cholesterol level after. So it's and you can wash it down with a nice bottle of Qingdao beer, which here is not so expensive. I think it might be about
beer is very cheap. I think. I mean, the foreign beer is expensive, but local beer.
Foreign beer is a different topic. So, if you want to drink something expensive, this is the Paulaner. Those are Paulaner. Paulaner Weissen beer. I think from memory, this touches 80 RMB a glass.
Wow, 80 RMB.
Half a litre. So you're talking half a litre. You work out what 80 RMB is. Divide by 9 of what the price is. And the other beer is also expensive from the Paulaner.
If you go to London, you actually get some crazy prices for pints as well.
Yeah. So, and then you sit in the Paulaner, and then you see that the very poor Chinese are drinking a lot of this. So then you realise where the money is. Yeah, and an expat, you think you're on a good salary, then you realise actually probably you're not as rich as the locals. Yeah, that's for sure.
Some of the locals are definitely living a very posh, rich life. I mean, if you've got the ones that got apartments in the centre of the Shanghai. So at one time I had to park my car in Xintandi. And I went downstairs. And I made a mistake on the wrong floor. So there was Aston Martin's owners that lived in the apartments with a garage. Aston Martin, Ferraris. Yeah. You see those, but I could never understand why would you have one in Shanghai? You can't take it full speed. It's just for show.
And you're looking at the most expensive versions of those cars you can get. So.
Yeah, they get them. They get those crazy paint jobs on them as well.
And typically, obviously, the rich families and the young Chinese, a lot of young ladies are driving very nice 558 Ferraris or whatever it is around town.
And big Ferraris.
pink Ferraris and with diamante colours. So it's yeah. So which is why there's a very expensive road here, Nanjing Road, and big shopping centres. Henan Guangzhou, very expensive area. Yeah, so this is why they have such good business. Yeah.
You'll see some celebrities there all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So a different life.
Biggest city. Biggest city in the world. Never know who you run into here.
Yeah.
Well, Gary,
thank you
once
much.
again, very good to talk to you.
You go back to your family now. So okay. Yeah. I'm sure you'll get some questions. I hope you get some questions. They can ask me anything.
I'm sure I will. And I hope a lot of expats who are thinking of coming to China see this and get encouraged by your story. And
I hope a bit more now. Sorry, a long day for you as well. So, okay.
No worries. Thank you very much for doing this with me, Gary. And let's tell our viewers thank you for watching.
Yes. Yeah, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you for watching, guys, and